In 2008, a shadow figure known as Satoshi Nakamoto appeared on the internet as the author of a white paper describing the concept of a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. This unknown person then went on to launch his Bitcoin network and write source code modifications until April 26, 2011. That was the day he sent his last message to the world, stating, "I wish you would stop talking about me as a mysterious, shadowy figure. The press just turns that into a pirate currency angle. Maybe instead make it about the open source project and give more credit to contributors." After he posted this message, Satoshi disappeared and has never been heard from again. Curiously, he vanished into the shadows, perhaps undermining his own wish to not be known as a mysterious, shadowy figure. Whatever angle you want to take on that, the fascination remains as to Satoshi's true identity and current whereabouts. What makes this topic especially tantalizing is the skill, knowledge, and programming acumen that Satoshi must possess. It allowed him to take the idea of crypto from concept to reality. To appreciate the full genius of what he accomplished, let's take a look at what Bitcoin actually is. In most countries, money is created on a fiat basis. That means that the money itself takes on value because the government says so. Fiat is a Latin term for let it be done. This was not always the case. Money was valuable because it was backed by gold. This is referred to as the gold standard. For reasons beyond the scope of this video, President Richard Nixon severed ties between the US dollar and the gold that was responsible for its value. In my next video, I'll explore the reasons and repercussions of what Nixon did, including how it reshaped the global economy. Satoshi's invention of Bitcoin was in part a reaction to the fiat nature of bank-regulated currencies. He sought to create a decentralized system that was not subject to the whims of the Federal Reserve, political parties, or financial institutions. Bitcoin is essentially a digital currency within a peer-to-peer network of users, all of whom have access to the software through their node or computer. In other words, transactions happen between you and me and back again. As such, it doesn't depend on a middleman, centralized control, or third-party verification. Transactions are recorded by a blockchain, which is a distributed ledger system that all users can access at any time. Since everyone can view and verify how Bitcoin changes hands by way of the blockchain records, there is no need for a third party like a bank or government. Each block in the blockchain is linked to a previous block in a digital chain going back to the Genesis block created by Satoshi himself. The blocks in the chain contain timestamps and transaction details, which can be independently and mutually verified. The whole of the system is secured through an SHA-256 hashing algorithm, which encrypts and secures the data, hence the term cryptocurrency. From a technical standpoint, this is a very complex system, but the concept is simple. Bitcoin is a currency that is secured, verified by users, decentralized, and recorded in a public ledger that's accessible to all users at all times. If you got some value from this video or channel so far, let me know by liking, commenting, and crushing the subscribe button. When Satoshi launched the Bitcoin network on January 3, 2009, he claims to have been a 36-year-old man residing in Japan. But prior to Bitcoin's mysterious appearance, no one had ever heard of a Satoshi Nakamoto. His email and website address were as enigmatic as his identity, since efforts to trace them have led into the ether from which Nakamoto appeared and into which he has vanished. Here's what we know. 1. Nakamoto wrote a near-perfect program to secure his Bitcoin network and blockchain encryption system. The program contained over 30,000 lines of code that have remained hack-proof to this day. Assuming Satoshi is a single person, he is quite simply a programming genius. 2. If he truly does reside in Japan, Nakamoto is nocturnal or keeps very strange hours, posting before 2 and after 8 p.m. Japan time. Of course, those posting times may be a red herring that he used to further obfuscate his identity. 3. He uses British spelling and conventions, and is obviously fluent in English. Of course, he could still be Japanese and simply use British spelling to misdirect. Also, he could be a British man residing in Japan or a Japanese person educated in the UK. There are many possibilities. 4. Whoever he is or they are, Satoshi's Bitcoin wallet contains about 1 million Bitcoins, 5% of the total Bitcoins in circulation. In today's valuation, that puts his net worth at around $16 billion. 5. The first Bitcoin transfer involved Nakamoto sending Hal Finney 10 Bitcoins. Of note, Finney was a computer scientist and software developer, heavily involved in Bitcoin's early days. Indeed, some still believe that Finney was actually Satoshi Nakamoto. Sadly, he passed away in 2014 due to complications from ALS. 6. Many have hypothesized that Satoshi had libertarian leanings and was attempting to wrest control of the monetary markets from the hands of bureaucrats and banks. This may or may not be true, but when he created the Bitcoin Genesis block, Nakamoto embedded the following message deep within the code. The Times, 3rd of January 2009, Chancellor on the brink of second bailout for banks. Fun fact, considering its current worth, it's interesting to note that the first real-world transaction involving Bitcoin took the form of a 2-pizza purchase for 10,000 Bitcoins. This happened on May 23, 2010, and is now known as Bitcoin Pizza Day. Given what we know, who are the prime suspects? Hal Finney. As noted before, Finney was one of the pioneers of crypto and was there from the beginning, debugging, coding, and contributing to the software. Analysis of his writing style appears to match Nakamoto's, but later email exchanges between Finney and Nakamoto do not seem to confirm this. Before his death, he categorically denied being Satoshi. What's a bit odd, though, is that Hal Finney lived just blocks from another Nakamoto suspect, Dorian Nakamoto. Dorian Nakamoto, whose birth name was Satoshi, lived in Temple City, California, and was a systems engineer trained as a physicist. He lived close to Finney, was a Japanese American, and appeared to have the requisite abilities to contribute to Bitcoin's development. However, Dorian Nakamoto was struggling financially, unemployed, and had no background in cryptographic algorithms. What's more, there is no evidence linking Dorian and Hal Finney. The latter denied ever having met Nakamoto, who was so destitute at one point that he didn't have the finances to afford an internet connection. Nick Szabo, on the other hand, definitely had internet access. He is a computer scientist and cryptographer with a degree in law. What's more, he had an interest in cryptocurrency, and in 1998 developed BitGold, which some believe to be an early concept form of Bitcoin. Perhaps most intriguing is the finding from a linguistics center study which pointed to Szabo as Satoshi Nakamoto, based on an analysis of the writing used in Nakamoto's white paper. Further, both Szabo and Nakamoto reference economist Carl Menger. Finally, Szabo uses LaTeX, an open-source software, to author his work. The Nakamoto white paper was prepared with the same program. Szabo denies that he is Nakamoto, but Elon Musk believes he is. Speaking of Elon Musk, he too has been pegged as a suspect. Per a previous SpaceX intern, Musk possesses the combination of C++ programming skills, financial knowledge, and combined use of British and American English evident in Nakamoto's writings. Gupta, the intern in question, also cites characteristic Musk usages like order of magnitude and bloody hard, which he notes in Nakamoto's writings as well. Aside from Dorian, Finney, Szabo, and Musk, there are dozens of other suspects for whom some evidence exists, but there is as of yet no definitive proof. Craig Wright, an Australian computer scientist, has actually claimed to be Satoshi, going as far as to state that the name Satoshi Nakamoto is an amalgam of Satoshi, the Japanese name for Ash Ketchum of Pokemon fame, and Tominaga Nakamoto, a Japanese philosopher. Craig states that the use of Satoshi, or Ash, references the rising of a new currency like a phoenix from the ashes. He further claims to have used Tominaga Nakamoto's name because Nakamoto was against tradition, logical, and like a, quote, Eastern Voltaire. Despite this poetic pseudonym origin story, Wright has never been able to produce corroborating evidence that he is in fact Satoshi Nakamoto. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and let me know your thoughts about who in the world is Satoshi Nakamoto.